My friends, today we gather not to dwell on the noise of the tabloids, nor the bitter whispers of envious royals, but to reflect on a profound loss that has touched Harry and Meghan deeply, and indeed the entire world. Take a breath with me. Sometimes, in the chaos of our daily lives, in the endless scroll of headlines and controversies, we forget to pause and honour those who truly changed the world. Today is one of those moments. Today we remember a giant. For Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, this week has brought with it heartbreak. They have bid farewell to a beloved friend, mentor and ally, the extraordinary Dame Jane Goodall. Yes, Dame Jane, the visionary primatologist who redefined humanity's relationship with nature, passed away in Los Angeles at the age of 91, while still doing what she loved most, speaking truth, inspiring hearts, and challenging the world to do better. 91 years of purpose, 91 years of tireless dedication. And even in her final days, she wasn't resting on her laurels in some quiet cottage. No, she was still speaking, still teaching, still fighting for the voiceless creatures of this earth. That, my friends, is what a life well lived looks like. And who led the tributes? Not the Windsors who cling to dusty titles and empty medals, not the tabloids who profit from scandal and manufacture outrage for clicks. No, it was Harry and Meghan, the couple so often smeared by the British press, who stepped forward with dignity, compassion and love. In a heartfelt statement they wrote, "Dr. Jane Goodall, DBE, was a visionary humanitarian scientist, friend to the planet and friend to us." Let those words sink in for a moment. Notice that friend to us. Not an association of convenience, not some staged photo op for royal PR, not a celebrity endorsement deal. A true friendship, one built on respect, shared values, and a vision of a better world. This wasn't about using Jane's name for credibility. This was about genuine human connection, something the institution Harry left behind has long forgotten how to cultivate. The palace knows how to arrange photo opportunities. They know how to coordinate outfits and wave from balconies. But authentic relationships with world-changing figures, that requires something they've lost: humanity. Harry and Meghan went on to share something deeply moving, something the toxic British press will never understand. Jane Goodall once held their son, Archie, as a newborn. She cradled him with tenderness and love. Meghan recalled how Jane showered care on those fortunate enough to know her, leaving imprints of kindness that can never be erased. Picture that moment, if you will. One of the most celebrated scientists in human history, a woman who had dedicated her entire life to understanding our closest living relatives in the animal kingdom, holding a newborn baby boy. What must have been going through her mind? What wisdom did she whisper to little Archie? What hopes did she have for his generation? And this is what the haters miss. While the courtiers and the so-called royal experts spend their days sharpening knives against Meghan, filing away in their dark corners, crafting the next attack piece, Harry has always surrounded his family with people of genuine substance, people like Jane Goodall, real leaders, real humanitarians, not pompous royals hiding behind castles and military uniforms they never earned, medals pinned to chests that never saw true service. Think about the company Harry and Meghan keep, not aristocrats whose only achievement was being born into the right family, not socialites chasing their next magazine cover, but people who've actually changed the world, scientists, activists, educators, truth-tellers. That tells you everything you need to know about their values. Let us not forget, Harry's bond with Dame Jane began in 2018, when he invited her to Kensington Palace. Imagine the scene. Harry, a young father-to-be sitting across from one of the greatest environmentalists of our time. Meghan nearby, radiant with her pregnancy, gently holding baby Archie. And Jane Goodall, this living legend, this woman who'd spent nights in the African wilderness, who'd revolutionized our understanding of animal behavior, unable to resist holding the tiny child. The irony is beautiful, isn't it? Jane spent years watching chimpanzees care for their young in the forests of Gombe. She documented maternal bonds, family structures, the tenderness of primate parents. And there she was, decades later, holding a human baby who represented hope for the future. A baby whose parents actually cared about the causes she'd dedicated her life to. That meeting wasn't a publicity stunt. There were no cameras rolling for the official royal documentary, no carefully staged photos released to the press. It was a private moment of connection between kindred spirits. That's the difference between performative royalty and authentic humanity. That is not just history. That is love. That is humanity at its finest. Contrast this with the coldness of the so-called slimmed-down monarchy. King Charles spends his days calculating optics, managing his image, worrying about whether his public approval rating has ticked up or down a single percentage point. William plays the part of a dutiful heir, robotically fulfilling engagements that mean nothing, changing nothing, helping no one. And Kate disappears into silence whenever the truth becomes too uncomfortable, carefully curated to within an inch of authenticity. But Harry and Meghan, they have built a life surrounded by real connections, authentic friendships, and people who actually matter. People who've earned their place in history through actions, not accidents of birth. Dame Jane Goodall was more than a scientist. She was the heartbeat of conservation. She was a voice for the voiceless. She was proof that one person, armed with passion and persistence, can change the world's consciousness. She spent decades in the wild, side by side with chimpanzees, in conditions that would break most people within days. No running water, no electricity, no comfort. Just her notebook, and an unshakable belief that these magnificent creatures deserve to be understood, not exploited. She showed the world that compassion extends beyond our species, that intelligence and emotion aren't uniquely human traits, that we're all interconnected in this fragile web of life. And Harry understood that. Harry didn't just nod politely during their conversations and then forget everything she said the moment she left. He listened, he learned, and he carried her torch forward. His work with conservation in Africa, his efforts to protect wildlife and wild spaces, his commitment to environmental causes. These aren't PR exercises. They're the direct result of relationships like the one he had with Jane. You can trace a line from those conversations in Kensington Palace to the work Harry does today through Archie, through his various patronages, through his continued advocacy. That's what real mentorship looks like. That's what happens when you actually care about something beyond your own image. And now, as they grieve her loss, Harry and Meghan remind us of something vital. Legacies live on not through palaces or thrones, but through actions, through compassion, and through the lives we touch. Jane Goodall didn't need a crown to change the world. She didn't need inherited wealth or a fancy title that someone gave her at birth. She had something far more powerful, purpose, and she ignited that same sense of purpose in everyone she encountered, from world leaders to school children, from fellow scientists to, yes, a young prince and his wife who dared to dream of a different life. It is telling that even in this moment of grief, Harry and Meghan speak with grace. No bitterness, no theatrics, no melodrama or attention-seeking, just truth, spoken simply and powerfully. And yet you can already hear the critics lining up those bitter voices in the UK tabloids, foaming at the mouth, desperate to twist even this moment into an attack on the Sussexes. I can already see the headlines they're crafting. Meghan makes Jane's death all about her. Harry uses tragedy to stay relevant. The usual venom, the predictable poison. They can't help themselves. Even a moment as pure as honouring a deceased friend must be contaminated, twisted, weaponized. But let them try. Let them writhe in their own toxicity. Their venom cannot poison the legacy of Jane Goodall, nor can it diminish the love Harry and Meghan shared with her. The truth stands independent of their lies. History will remember Jane Goodall as a titan of science and conservation. And history will remember who truly honoured her and who tried to exploit even her death for clicks and coins. As Adrian, let me leave you with this thought. While the Windsors cling to outdated titles and their hollow performances on palace balconies, while they wave mechanically at crowds who care less and less each year, Harry and Meghan continue to walk with giants. They stood with Nelson Mandela's legacy, visiting the places where he fought for freedom and justice. They worked with Archbishop Desmond Tutu, that beacon of moral clarity and forgiveness. And they cherished the friendship of Dame Jane Goodall, one of the most important figures of the 20th and 21st centuries. These weren't photo opportunities. These weren't boxes to tick on, so be royal itinerary. These were relationships that shaped them, challenged them, inspired them to be better, to do more, to never settle for the comfortable lie when an uncomfortable truth needed to be told. And when the history books are written, and they will be written, do you know what will matter? Not the cruel headlines that filled British newspapers, not the coordinated smear campaigns, not the palace briefings designed to destroy a woman's reputation because she dared to be herself, not the staged royal photo ops where everyone wears matching coats and pastel colours and smiles vacantly for the cameras. What will matter are the connections, the love, the genuine friendships. What will matter is who stood for something real, who fought for causes that mattered, who left the world better than they found it. And in that regard, Harry and Meghan stand tall, proud, unshaken, and deeply human. So farewell, Dame Jane Goodall. The world has lost a light. But in Harry, Meghan, Archie, Lilibet, and the millions of people inspired by her legacy, that light continues to shine. Her work at Gombe continues. Her institute continues. Her teachings continue. And most importantly, her spirit, that fierce, unstoppable belief that we can do better, that we must do better for our planet and all its inhabitants, lives on in everyone she touched. Rest in power, Dame Jane. You showed us what it means to live with purpose. And you showed Harry and Meghan what true royalty looks like, not the kind that comes from bloodlines and birth certificates, but the kind that's earned through dedication, compassion, and an unwavering commitment to making the world a better place. Thank you for everything you gave us. Thank you for the example you set. And thank you for being a friend when friendship meant something real. The chimps of Gombe will miss you. The forests will miss you. The planet will miss you. But your legacy? That's eternal. This is Adrian reminding you, in a world of empty crowns, be a Jane Goodall. Be the change. Be the light. And never, ever let the bitter voices of small people dim your shine. Until next time.